decided to start this video because I had problems with the side rails that are actually the feet. The tab, the M8 tab or 5, whatever it is the threads are bad in some of these. I actually had to drill out 2 on this rail and just push a bolt through them and tighten it down. So bad quality control there. So I decided to do a video, kind of share it with everybody, even myself. It's really for myself later. I can go back and look and watch myself build it and remember the frustrations, and then and also see what all I've learned. So far, it's pretty good level. So I did an alright job last night. We had this thing put together pretty quick. How long? It didn't take long.
We started at like 9.
Good. What time we get done?
We got it done at like 11, I'd say.
About 2 hours. That was bad. Me and Brandon stayed up. Like 2:30.
I went straight to bed.
I know I saw you in there. Hopefully, these aren't all jacked up, so what I'm going to do is try them first. Another thing that I ran into was these holes were not cut. I don't know what the tolerance is on this, but one thing that I did notice was that the holes were not on center. So they either need to tighten up their tolerance or QC just missed it all together. I'm wondering if it's a little bit of both. Like they just knew it was out, they just went ahead and sent it. So maybe nobody said anything. Like this one's getting tough. But maybe some, I don't know if we take a look at it, maybe some powder coat or paint or clean, but they look buggered up. They look rough. But another thing that I saw was that these positions of these holes were out in relation to the rail, and so what that'll do also is you think the threads are messed up, but it's because the bolt is rubbing on the wasteboard, which I had a little bit of issue with that over there. Not too bad, but it was tight. So they need to tighten up their tolerance on their true positions of their bolt holes, bolt pattern. That would help the consumers out a lot. So it looks like this rail is going to be fine. Okay, so the threads on this one are great. Let's hope that the position is great too. Ready? We're going to pull this. Sort it like you go right here in the bottom. Hold it up. And then, well, we can check the screws. And the screw. That one up. So I'm not taking them all the way down. I keep it loose. Let's see it there. And I can look down here and see the position of the hose. And this side actually looks pretty good. Huh. This last one, these last 2 look off a little bit, so we'll see how it goes. Let's see if they're off enough that thread doesn't restart. Yep. So I may have to actually drill the wasteboard out a little bit, maybe oversize the wasteboard. And that'll solve this issue. needs to be. Well, that almost goes on threads. One thing I did, I checked it on the opposite side, so let me pull this out. Check the threads from this side. It's not going to start very well. I don't like that because I don't like how tight that is. So it looks like to me the waste board needs to be oversized a bit. Something needs to be oversized a bit to compensate for the other crap. So this is about the same size as the bolt itself. I'm just going to send it through. Try to give it a few thousandths. So that drill bit is the same size as the hole itself, so I had to wiggle it around a little bit while I was bringing it out there to try to oversize it just a tad. Not quite. So, gotta find just a little bit bigger bit. I don't want to make it too big, it'll be freaking sloppy. I'm going to start with my waste board. So I'm basically just giving me a bonus to my Madden bonus, so that way the other things that don't fit, I'm giving it a little extra bonus by oversizing the waste board. I don't think the waste board is too critical in relation to a position as much as the actual rail system itself. The rail system itself is, I would say, you would probably want it as close to square as possible. But as far as the waste board, that's just where you put your workpiece. As long as it's flat, it don't matter really about the squareness of it. It's going to come to a certain point and home out X and Y. And as far as that, it's just a matter of table space. The most important thing about the waste board, I believe, is getting it flat. Flat, flat, flat. And even so, if you don't get it flat during this process, you can always do a milling operation and cut it flat. But it's important, I think, to keep your machine itself square, the rails, the entry. So hopefully that gave us enough bonus that we can assemble it now. If that's what the problem was the waste board. I hope it wasn't the rail underneath too. This will really tell right here. That's a lot better. It's still a little tight, but not going up like it was. So if you oversize your waste board holes a little bit, not the through hole, that'll give you a little extra needed room to get your bolt through there. Remember that. This side went on a lot nicer. That other side, I ain't gonna lie, I was cussing. I'm actually gonna shoot this out. gonna want room to get around the back side of the table. So I gotta move this camera. Big old table. Alright. Now I got enough room I can actually work around and kind of be in the view of the camera. So I can always go back and just check the work. Alright, loading restrictions. One.
2. Is there a third one?
Two. Yep. I think the third one is with a Z. The X coats the Z. Alright. So there's one that's plain and there's one that's got holes. Remember that, guys. I seen a video on this. This guy screwed up. Okay, here's the one with holes. With this one, go to my left. This will go to my right. This one, there. And those are heavy duty. Alright, so extrusion should be placed on the left side. Going from equally to right. Dang, that's actually damaged. Can you see that? Looks worse in person. When I got this in the mail, UPS guy like slammed it around. When I got it, I may add some pictures of the box when I received it. I was pretty upset about it. The box was damaged, so I was a little concerned. But so far, that's the only thing I've seen. All right, so ripples down. That's on the left. Right. Okay, we're good. Okay, preparing the carriages. Remove the left. Right. Okay, we're good. Okay, preparing the carriages. Remove the 3 carriages from their boxes. The Y-axis right assembly box. Okay, here we go. So, guys, can you give me the Y-axis assembly box? Should be under that. Okay. So Y-axis right assembly and Y-axis left assembly. Right. The XY assembly box also contains 2 extra packages. Place these near the XZ carriage as shown in the image below. Note, it is recommended that you keep the Y-axis left carriage on the left and the Y-axis right carriage on the right, as shown in the image below, to keep them in their proper orientation with respect to the front of the Shapeoko. However, they can be easily distinguished by examining the side with bearings. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. So. Granddaddy long leg. That's a granddaddy long leg. Look at it. Isn't that nice? It's already assembled. It's got the servo on it. Yeah. Okay, so all that was saying, once you get your frame built, your wasteboard on and all that, put your header that says Shapeoko up here. Put the one without screw hose on the right, and put the one with screw hose in it on the left. And then get your boxes that say X and Y, or Y left and Y right assembly. Take them out of the box. Put the left one on the left side, the right one on the right side. Just keep them separated. And it also said it would be easy to tell the difference. I haven't put enough thought in it to see that yet. So, and then the X carriage. springs, got bearings. Got a base plate. I'm assuming it's for the Z travel. So I'm just going to put it all in the middle there. So I got my right side, it's laying by my right extrusion. My Y left, laying by my left extrusion. And I got my center. I just, the center two pieces with their hardware. I just throw them there. So the X carriage and Z carriage are shipped together in the same box along with two small bags that contain the two springs and the idler assembly. That's what I was just talking about. Put it in the middle. Z carriage is the smaller of the two carriages shown in the image below. Carefully remove the Z carriage from its protective wrapping, ensuring that the belt is not damaged or removed from its initial installation location. Whoops. So, if you screw that up, this is what it looked like. Okay? This is its original location. So basically, just take your belt, wrap it around this, and then bring it in between those two pulleys. And once you're there, and they had it up here, I don't think that matters right now, but that's how it was assembled. If you screw it up for whatever reason, that's how you get it back to where it was. Okay. The idler assembly ships already assembled in the proper order. See the image below to verify the order of various components. Carefully remove the nut while ensuring the remaining components stay on the bolt. Okay, that's talking about this. Carefully remove the nut while making sure the rest of it stay right where they had it. I'll just leave that there for a second. Then I'm going to grab, looks like this, and I'm going to place that thing that I just took apart, just like they had it. I just took the nut off, place it down in there, just like so. I'm going to thread the nut back on it. Sometime today. Okay. That's all I did. Set it back over there. Okay? Secure it in place by finger tightening the nut on the opposite side of the carriage. That's what I just did. Once the idler assembly is through the slot, loosely attach the nut on the back side of the plate. Some adjustability will be required to get the belt in place, so leave this slightly finger tight for the time being. That's what we just did. Okay? The next step. Get this big box out that says the XXL final assembly. Take this head that I'm using. I'll get this. This carbide 3D on it. Okay? I'll find that. Put it apart. This is it. Just a fixed pulley. Eccentric nuts. Okay. So bear with me just for a second. Okay, so this is how this is going to go on. So with this here, that pulley is right there, what you just saw. The fixed pulley that belt wrapped around earlier is right there. We are going to bolt this aluminum plate right below it. There's these two bolt holes, one here and one there. These two right there. This getting bolted on right there. That's where the router will be placed. Got it? Right to the back. I got to figure out what the screws, the bolts we're using. So align the spindle mount with the bottom set. Through hose on the Z carriage, the carbide logo should go right side up, but the position of the pocketed hole on the spindle mount does not matter. Left or right is fine. The fixed pulley location should be on the left side of the plate. As shown in the photo, for further reference, the eccentric nuts will be on the left side as well. If you were to install the Z carriage backwards with the screws on the right, the Z axis will operate in reverse. That would be good. Turning the Z carriage over, secure the spindle mount by installing 2 of the M5x16 screws through the back of the plate into the rear of the spindle mount. Okay, so I need to find those screws wherever in the world they are. That's interesting. I don't like that. Crap. They should have labeled the bags. You guys need to label the bags. This is not good. So the bag that has these 2 and 2 more, those fit. Those are the only ones that I'm able to get to fit right now. Unless I'm just completely missing something here. M5x16, so metric 5. I'm not good with metric, guys. I know in inches it's threads per inch, you know. I think it's going to be these. BHCS. I don't know what the hell that means. But later on in the diagrams, I'm seeing these 2 screws appear. Those 2 long ones I was showing you earlier. I think I'm going to go with these 2 short, these ones that are actually too long. I think that's kind of like a mislabel or something. I don't know. Find out down the road. But I bet you that's what it is. These actually measure 16. To be exact, with micrometers, 15.13. A little small. And then these measure 18.6. So I don't know, maybe it's like a 2x4, you know. They call it a 2x4, but I mean, it's actually like a 1.5 by whatever, 4. 1.5 by 3.5. I mean, but they call it a 2x4. Maybe it's something like that. I don't know. But I'm going to use these 2 that came in this bag. I don't think I'm going to go wrong. So make sure that when you assemble this, with the pulley here, put the 2 screws down here. So if you're looking at it, the pulley's going to be on the right hand side. It's those 2 lower bolt holes. You stick it in there. And then from the front side, make sure it's right. It's like that. I'm trying to do this in a way that we can all see. I noticed on this aluminum block that I'm screwing into, they drilled and tapped the hose really long, so, or really deep. So it just seems fitting to be using these. Why would you drill and tap so deep? Seems like a waste, unless you're using these. These fit perfect. I'm trying to sell myself on the idea of using these. I hope I don't want to go back later. Okay, so you can use some thread locker on these, it says, because of the vibration. To keep it from, like, it'll help it from breaking loose later. So what I'm going to actually do is take these back out. Shoulder right ahead. It's already been an hour. Actually, we're nice enough to get us some Loctite. Be careful. Breaking that open, that stuff's trying to go everywhere. Alright, so I'm gonna put just a little bit on these bolts. I hope to God they're the right ones because I am now thread locking them. Just gonna paint a little bit on there. I'm not gonna go crazy. Put that in there. So tired today. Alright, so make sure we get it right before we proceed. That's good. So make sure this to the right, turn it around. There. They said we can go ahead and lock this down. I noticed there's some slop in this a little bit. Listen. So what I'm going to do is actually try to just square it by just pushing either up or down. In this case, I'm going to go, since the force of the machine is going to be upward, when the router enters the cut, it's going to be going up. I'm going to go ahead and relieve it by pushing up. So I'm going to push it up and then tighten it down. So I'm just going to put my fingers there, push it all the way up, then tighten it down. Probably wouldn't go too crazy with it. Sound wrench feels like it's fixing to slip. I don't need that right now. Yep. I want to get another Allen wrench. This is kind of south on it. Oh, it's blue. It's metric. Where's my metric? Where my other set is. They're always around if they need them. Got these at Tractor Supply for a couple bucks. Yeah, these bolts, this hardware they provide, I'm not liking. Heads are slipping real easy. They're very, at first I thought they were stainless. If they are, they're not a good stainless. Maybe an alloy of some sort. Yeah, but they're stripping out easy. So be careful. Tighten these screws down during this point to reduce the chance of vibration causing the screws to become loose. Thread locker will help. Okay, now Z carriage. Flip the Z carriage and orient the Z carriage so that it's shown below. As below, the bearings belt will now be on the underside. So we're actually mounting it now. So Got a Z carriage. Shooting this on a cell phone, so laying against a saw, just bare skill saw. So yeah, I'm doing the best I can here. All right. So this is the bottom loop right here. We are going to mount with this motor facing up. It's a dark picture, I can hardly see. So I'm gonna, with the motor facing up here, I'm going to take this bottom loop. You know what? I guess we're gonna hold it like this. So the belt was like that, you know, if it's straight. But I guess they're wanting you to wrap it up between here, like so. So standing straight up with this. So just curve it up. Now, with the motor sitting up like that, we are going to place this on there somehow. Let's see. Probably from the bottom. Lift this up. Tension. I guess we're going to hold it like this. So the belt was like that, you know, if it's straight. But I guess they're wanting you to wrap it up between here, like so. So standing straight up with this. So just curve it up. Now, with the motor sitting up like that, we are going to place this on there somehow. Let's see. Probably from the bottom. Lift this up. Let me rephrase myself. So take that back on. Okay. So I had it there. Do it the opposite. Go down with it. I'll explain it to you in just a second. This here is going to wrap around this. That's why. That's what it's showing next. So sticking down with the motor up here, just lay it on there like that. But you'll, with it just hanging, just slide it on that rail. Just slide that baby on there. I don't like how they don't show you how to get the damn thing over that thing we put on earlier. They just show it sliding on. Well, okay, you just have to mash it past it, I guess. Then they want to talk about not damaging the belt. So I just had to mash it past that. I don't like that. As long as it works, that's all that matters. So I just slid that up on there with the belt hanging out the bottom. But slide it on up. Okay. So now that that's up there, we got the bottom loop hanging out. Make sure nothing changed in there. It's still wrapped the way it was. Just don't make any sense. It seems like it's going to rub. Maybe it'll fix itself in a minute. So the bearings and belt will now be on the underside. So the top and bottom loop should be separated. So I can shove one of these up in there to the top. Make sure it's the top one. make sure it's the right one. It's going to be obvious, because if you don't get the right one, it's going to be crossed over and be rubbing and stuff. So, yeah, that's the way it's supposed to look. Okay. I was trying to wrap my head around how that was going to work. Okay. So, I just kind of fell in place. So that lower one's was already trying to go on the. Well, so you just lay that on the pulley there, then take this other one. We know that it's going up on this one. So I'm going to go ahead and just get that over with and put it there. Okay? And make sure that your freaking belt isn't twisted or, all that crap. Make sure it's straight. Hate to snap that baby off first time you turn it on. I couldn't imagine that frustration. Alright. I wouldn't want to imagine it. So, I'm going to go ahead and slide this on up. Okay. That's what it's going to look like. Put one piece of the belt on there, and put one over there. That makes sense. It's going to drive it up and down. Fair enough. So, make sure that they're all aligned. All the wheels are in there in a line. Both sides. All that's saying is make sure it's straight, which it is. Those wheels down in there are in this V. Those wheels have V slots cut in them, and they ride along that. That's all it's saying. Make sure it's straight. Okay? And that bottom belt, it looks like it's going to ride up one. I thought it was going to be on that lower one, but apparently that's for the set screw. This is showing that up on there. You think it would cut that belt. It don't look right. It don't seem right. Huh. Shows it up high. Covering. Let me see something. I'm going to unscrew this a little bit. Does that come apart? Yeah. Okay, so that splits. So in between, I want to back this one off, the long one there, so I can move it back and get the belt on easier. There we go. I'm going to split the two there. Get that belt in there. It's sitting. That's so frustrating. Because when you tighten it down, how in the hell, it's not spaced right. That groove, the belt is too wide for that groove. The groove is narrower than the belt's width. And in the picture it shows it. You know what? Them son of a bitches put that on backwards. They tell you not to mess anything up, not to be careful not to change that. But look, it's on backwards. I bet you that's the way it's supposed to look. Where's some quality control guys? Let's see if that fixed it. Wouldn't you know, it fixed it. That's right. Okay. Another thing to look out for. Glad I caught that now. Could you imagine running that and the freaking belt popping off or burning up, snapping off? Can't figure out why. That would suck. So I think I need to kind of be mindful and look around and make sure they didn't screw nothing else up. Okay. So we got that done. Okay. So a portion of the belt should be exiting the top of the bottom of the Z carriage shown in the image below. Like we had, we've got it right. So far so good. Loop belt around the idler. Okay, so that was the idler pulley. So we've already done that. Okay. Now wrap it around the this one. We've already done that. All right, so now we're going to tighten up this belt. So first thing we want to do is kind of get this hand snug, but not like super tight. Just kind of enough to where there should be a wrench provided. I don't know which one it is. Of course, it's not that one. So I'm just gonna barely snug it. That's actually, I mean barely. Just enough that I'm gonna adjust this bolt until this belt is tight. So that way when it's running the motors are running, it actually moves this stuff up and down. So I'm gonna go ahead and get an Allen wrench. Let me put this in a hard to get to spot. Let's see if I can't just finger tighten that to save me a little time. Okay. Now I'm going to crank this down. I made sure this was kind of snug so that way I'm not fighting against myself. Well, it's not like it could go back up, I guess, if I got a bolt pushing it down. So anyways, I just put a little snug on it and I'm gonna just tighten this up. Now don't stretch the freaking belt out. Like, don't go insane with it. You know, but you probably want it snug for sure. And try to make sure that this is laying in the grooves. I think that would be beneficial, because if you tighten this up and it's snug and then this is out of the groove and the other's out of the groove, and then once it starts running they fall into the grooves, then you're going to have slack in your freaking belts. That's probably not going to be ideal. You're already going to get slack from wear. I want this pretty tight. Well, that's about right. I like that. Hear that? It's got spring to it. That's what you want. I'll go just a little bit more. One more turn. That's about right. Maybe a little bit more. Let's try that. I can live with that. It's not super tight. Like a pretty good stretched rubber band, but enough that it's tight. It's going to stretch out real quick and kind of get to where it's going to be. I would probably say we're probably going to have to come back later and tighten it again after a few hours. It's probably going to get hot and move around. So I've kind of already made adjustment for that. So another thing I'm going to look for is height. So I'm feeling something funny here. So, if you notice, on this upper pulley, the width of the pulley, watch where the belt's riding. You see that? Yeah. The belt's riding towards the back. There's a gap between the front of the pulley. In the width of the pulley, there's a gap in the front. So that tells me that this pulley here is a little too far up. So there should be an adjustment screw here that I can actually lower this down a little bit and get this to ride more in the middle, because what's going to happen is if this belt is riding on this pulley against the back, it's probably going to start rubbing on something, rub the face of that pulley, and start burning that belt up. And this thing's probably going to be running for extended hours, you know, probably several hours at a time, and that's, you know, a plastic belt. I'm sure it's made out of something rigid, but I wouldn't expect that to last very long. You know, I'm trying to get some life out of this thing. It wasn't cheap. I'm going to try to adjust that a little bit down to where it's riding more in the middle, rather than the back. It looks like a pretty small Allen wrench. It's going to go in there. I'm not for certain what size. I'll tell you in just a minute. 1.5. Save yourself the guessing. 1.5. I'm going to break, there's 2 set screws on this pulley. You just break them loose. And then afterwards, I'm going to press it down. Attempt to. The son of a gun is, looks like a press fit. I don't know how they cut that shaft. Pulley. Looks like that was pressed on there. So the only way to combat that is to find something round. Maybe this socket head. Set it on top. Right in the center of that pulley. Be careful. Because if you hit it too hard or something and bend that shaft, you're done. That thing's going to be unconcentric and be wobbling while it's turning. Just going to end up burning that up. Probably be cheaper to replace a belt than a motor. These things are probably, I don't know, $50 or less, 25 to 50. I'm just giving it a little tap. I'll show you what I did. Took this extension and a socket that was about bigger than the diameter of that shaft of the motor shaft coming out of there, and just set it on top and give it a couple taps after loosening those set screws. And it moved it. So that's what I want. So now, after doing that, before I tighten everything back down, I'm actually going to go up and down this and see if it changes. Up and down a couple times. It didn't move, so I'm going to go down a little bit more with my hammer. See that? Sticking out pretty good now. Okay, I had to go down quite a bit. See how that's sticking out at the top? But look where my pulley is. It's in the middle, or the belt. The belt is in the middle of the pulley. See? So now, when I run the motor, the belt will be in the center of that spindle, whatever that is, and won't be rubbing on the freaking face of that groove. Knock them back up now. On another thing, when you're adjusting it, make sure that you don't screw yourself by, make sure there's a gap between this pulley and the face of the motor, because you don't want this rubbing on that too. And say you had to adjust it, more than, say it was laying on it, that's the best you could do to get it in the center. I would actually take this off and shave a little bit off the bottom of this aluminum pulley. If it came to that, I would want this right in the center. If I had to shave this off a little bit, I would do it, because it would save you frustration in the long term. I'd rather have it right in the middle. Tighten it back down carefully. This stuff is easily stripped out. I'm almost, you know what, I'm going to do it. I'm actually going to put a little bit of Loctite on that. So I'm going to take out those set screws, at least one of them. There's a lot of vibration in there. I'm actually going to take out one of those little bitty set screws and add a little drop of Loctite on it. Just a little bit. You got to thinking about things. I want that stuff vibrating out of there, you know what I mean? They run along and the damn thing slips out, rips the belt to pieces, and the whole router eats up into the board because it falls down. Oh, that would be terrible. I'm sure there's people out there that know about it. I'm an absolute beginner. I know nothing about this stuff. This is my first one. First time ever dealing with a router. I've never used a router before in my life. First time I ever plugged one up was yesterday. I bought one at a thrift store. $20. It's crazy. Craftsman. I'm going to take both of them out and do it. $20. I plugged it in at work. Brand new Craftsman. I said, you want $20 for that? I said, yeah. Okay. It's nice. It's a big one too. Dual hand. So, big plastic case, everything, instructions. I'll go for that. So, that's how much I know. I don't know anything about this stuff. So I snugged them up. Not over tight, just snug. It's got Loctite on it. It'll be sealed up tomorrow. Okay, so now I've fixed that to where it's right in the center and I'm not going to have to replace belts often, hopefully. Now I'm going to tighten the shit out of this one, this lower one. So I get the big Allen wrench provided. Try to hold that here in that little wrench. Just tighten it up. I actually put some meat on that. Now, double check my belt, make sure nothing went crazy. Oh, that's perfect. Oh, that's beautiful. I wish you could feel that. Allen wrenches. Hear that? Good snap, good spring, but not excessively. That's an excess. Sorry. Obsess. That's excess. Okay. I think this is finished. So, what's next? Springtime. Springtime. Okay, install springs. Lay the X and Z carriage on one of its sides as shown in the image below. Place one of the springs loops around the Z carriage post as shown in the image below. Pull up on the spring and attach the other loop to the edge carriage post as shown in the image below. There's a lot of images below talk, and I'm not really seeing shit. Okay, so what they're talking about is these posts. This one, and this one, on the side of the carriage. So we're going to be attaching a spring here from, looks like maybe there, and inside that other screw. Bolt. Let me take a look. Yep. Okay. Where's my springs? Spring. Put on there and rip your fingers off. Boing. Okay, simple. I guess that helps it travel back. Probably wouldn't be so hard if I had already had it up, huh? Maybe I'll use my brain on this one. Look at here. Get there. Boing. The upper one. I bet that's like a dampener. Kind of helps with the vibration and stuff. But it kind of helps with that and the slack. Maybe slack. I don't know. Okay, using the 2x M5 by 55 millimeter screws, install the spindle mount. Do not tighten at this point. We will secure these screws after we install the spindle later in this guide. Okay. M5 by 55. What are those? Please, for the love of God, label your packages. So people like me that don't know screws will kind of get a clue. I'm probably grabbing the wrong stuff right now. Double check. Oh, I got it. So there's a package in here. I think that's what it's referring to. I don't know what that's for. Install the spindle mount. Oh. Whoa, 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 whoa. Do not use these. It's those long ones. Where are the long ones? Oh, right there. These. I'm sure there's a reason. A reason I don't know. So, the long ones go in here. Oh, I'm sure there's a reason. So I'm just going to put these down in there. I'm not going to tighten them up for obvious reasons. I don't have the damn router in there. That's what's going to hold the router. So I'm not going to tighten them up. All right, so we're done with this Z carriage. Cool. So the only thing left now with this is basically, I guess, to put in the damn router and plug it in, and to mount it, of course. And there's going to have to be a belt because this is the X. The X is this is going to be moving left and right. So there's pulleys on the back. So we'll get to that in a little bit. The next thing is, I believe, the X-axis. I don't know. We'll see. I'll set that up there. Let me move this camera. So now we're going to grab the X-rail, the one that says Shapeoko on it, whatever. Yeah, I'm going to move the camera. So let's put you up here. Hey, pretty good view there. Get a shot of my backside here in a minute. As long as I don't bump in and knock my dang phone, knock my dang phone off. Be all right. All right. Shapeoko, right here. See that? Yep. So what we're going to do is locate the bag labeled extrusion that contains the 24 M6 by 12 screws. That was the ones that I mistaken for something else earlier. So this is the bag that was labeled extrusion that has these in it. That's what we're after. Should be 24 of them in there, I believe. We'll get them. Okay, the Y-axis left carriage will be bolted to the X-axis extrusion rail using the 4 of the M6 by 12 millimeter screws, which are the ones I just showed you. Okay. The bearings on the Y-axis left carriage will route on the D-rail, the left extrusion rail. This means the Y-axis left carriage must be bolted to the X-axis extrusion rail with the bearings facing outward or to the left and the motor pointing in or to the right as shown in the photo below. Okay. So picture doesn't do it justice. It doesn't. They could have take better pictures. So it's this gonna use the Big Allen. So this dude, that shit is bent. This freaking thing here is a little bent. Like it's got a warp from here to here. Huh. Alright. So I think we're gonna mount this dude up like right here. So we're gonna get a better picture here. So I think the belt's gonna be driven from the outside. So we wanna put the pulley out and the motor in toward the Shapeoko side. So obviously we don't want to do it this way because I spoke too soon. We want the Z carriage up high. So I believe if we bolt it here, that gives us height to ride along this lower rail. Here in a minute. Let me take a better look on the description. Let's see, how do I want to do this? Oh, this is going to be like the motor to the back, pull it to the front. So the motor facing the Shapeoko label. And then this front side flush to the front side of this. And then take take 4 of them. Load that. Okay. We'll get a better shot here. I'm just going to bolt these babies into here. I don't think, I'm just going to barely tighten them. I am not going to put any torque on them at all because I got a feeling it's going to have to be squared up later. Like, you can't expect this to just be squared up. There's going to have to be some fine tuning. Shit, that was tight. I'll tighten it up and then back it off a little bit. Not loose. Somebody must have crashed the machine or something, like knocked off their machine. Must be out of position a little bit. It's got some slop because they're not doing too well on the. I don't know. Maybe it's just. I don't know. This is the first one I ever put together, so maybe this is typical. I'm gonna just stop. Excuse me. I'm gonna stop complaining right now. That bitch too much. Okay, I'm gonna flip this baby around. 180 degrees. Okay, so I'm gonna do the same thing. So this time, I'm just gonna match the other side over there. If you see the other side, the motor's on this back side. So I'm just gonna do the same thing. So the motor's there, so I'm gonna put the motor on the same side. We'll see how that works out. It's already been 2 freaking hours. How long is this going to take? Not that I'm in a hurry or anything. I mean, I'm just kind of taking it easy, trying not to screw anything up. I'm trying to fix other people's screw ups. What's this crap? Are you kidding me? That's not even right. Their holes are out of line. This side's in, but the other side's not right. I want to tighten this down and give it some back them all. Hopefully there's some slop in there. That gave me a little bit. Tighten up and back it off. When I assemble it, I can take an indicator across it to see how freaking level this is. How square. I'm curious. These lower ones may need to be tightened down because I'm thinking I'm not going to be able to do it later because of the belts. But I'm not going to do it yet. I'll wait. Okay, so I got those sides on. Let's see what else awaits. So attach the Y-axis left carriage to the X-axis extrusion rail with 4 of those bolts. Be careful not to cross-thread the bolts. Put the X-axis, put the motor behind the X-axis rail. That's what we did, so I was right. There is no need to tighten them completely. Later in installation, you will square the machine and tighten all the bolts. Okay, so I've done exactly what I needed to do. Cool. Carefully slide the XZ carriage onto the X extrusion rail as shown in the image below. Use the empty carriage boxes. Blah, 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 blah. Aligning the V wheels on the whatever. Slowly slide assembly onto the rail. Pay special attention to the wheels to ensure the V rail is seated in the V of both the top and bottom wheels. Okay. So with the motor up, slide it on. Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, shit. I just screwed up. I forgot to put on the freaking... What was I thinking? I wasn't. So this shit's gonna come back on. You know why? Because I have to slide on the freaking carriage. That's gonna drive the router. Dumb. Please don't make that mistake. I hope you didn't pause the video. If anybody, there's probably not gonna be anybody even watching this video. And if they were, they probably ain't watching it to this point. They probably done gave up a long time ago. But if you've made it to this point, I hope to God you didn't pause it while doing that last part and go ahead and do what I showed. Or I hope to God you had enough sense, more sense than me, and knew better. Okay, so this is the thing we built earlier. So with it straight like this, we're keeping the motors up. We are going to carefully install this on there, ensuring that these grooved pulleys, the grooves are, slide onto both top and bottom grooves. This one and that one down there. So it's going to slide on. Alright, so I'm just going to set her up. Slide her on. Come on. Rubber. Now, back to the previous step. Now we're going to put this back on. Remember, with the motor facing all the other motors. All the other motors are in the same. This is actually a really easy build. I've just ran into a few problems. This really is a nice machine. I'm really enjoying it. Alright. This is the part where it talked about do not force them in there. Do not cross throw them. You wanna know why? That would be terrible. I don't know about how you would go about fixing something like that, because these aluminum extrusions are like, first of all, they're hollow and stuff. Oh, that was going to force. So I need to shimmy it up on some. I'm gonna lay down a block of screws under that. Kind of get it up a little more. Wiggle it. Try to. Yeah, I don't like that. That's aluminum. Can't trust it. If it grabs at all, you back that shit off before you make a bad mistake. You tighten it up and back it off. Tighten it up and back it off. Make sure there's nothing in there that's going to get up in your aluminum threads and screw them up. Well, it'd make for a horrible day. You have to get a whole new X-rail. Just wiggle that thing around until it goes in there easily. Tighten it up, back it off. Just barely. Tighten it up, crack it loose. Crack it. Crack it loose. I tighten everything up and then crack it loose. So this is where we're at. Because it's starting to get heavy. All right, got that done. I got a feeling these are going to go the same way. So here's what I was talking about earlier. Do not cross thread those because there's no room for error. You know what I mean? I converted that to CNC. That was a manual aid. And, I just added some motors on it. Okay. We are going to take this one that has the hose in it, remember? This is important. We are going to turn those holes to the outside of the machine. Let's get a better view here. Okay? And we're going to take this rail and slide it. Remember the V's in here? Well, there's V's in these pulleys over here on the side. That is going to be slid in there. We're just going to do the same thing. I'm just going to slide this freaking wheel in there with these hose, 2 holes that were in there. This one, to the outside of the machine. Okay. Ooh, those fell in. That's nice. That's a good fit. Fell right in. All right, so I got that in. I don't know. Oh, you know what? I bet. You know, these are threaded on the ends. So that's gonna go in there. Now, one thing we did this time that was correct is we actually put the rail on prior to bolting onto the outsides. So do not put them on yet until you attach this to your carriage. You'll screw yourself like I did earlier. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Go ahead and put it. Kind of jumping ahead, not paying attention, but I'm assuming that's next. I will pay the price. I am willing to pay the price if I'm wrong. Let's see. What are you? I probably wouldn't pause it right now. Just go ahead and play it. 30 minutes from now, when I'll say, shit, you'll be thankful. What I'm actually going to do is I'm only going to put 2 in on this side, diagonally from each other, if I can, which I don't think I can because of the height of the thing. I'm going to just try to at least get 2 in. And then I'm going to go to the other end and do the same. So that way it's supporting itself. I can't get 2 in. So I'm just going to go to the other end. My battery's getting low on my phone. So I'm going to cut this down a little bit. by hand, hold it. I'm gonna go ahead and assemble it in the corner here. Well, attempt to. Come on, baby, just one is all we need. There we go. I'm not gonna tighten it down, I'm just getting it in there. Okay, so now it's holding itself on that side. Got one screw on each side. We'll go back over here. Do the same thing. If I'm able to. No, it's because it's kicked out over here. So I'm going to actually install this side. So the V will go to the inside of the machine, right? Yes. Just install that thing on there. That should be enough of the action. Slide the heavy in the rail. Easy does it. Alright. I'll lower this down a little bit. There. I'm going to put on this corner. Just going to do one bolt for now. Gotta hold it up while I do it. Okay. One in there, back it off. Same thing to the other side. Hope I didn't miss a step. This is a pretty good sized table, man. Like size router. Definitely nice. One thing that I see right now, say for instance, if I was going to do bigger projects, we'll probably put like another wasteboard down because there is a lip right along here. I don't know if you can see that, but it stops. There's a lip right here on that rail, and so you wouldn't be able to have stuff overhanging. So if you put another board up there, you could. And I mean, I'm sure you could lay it across, but your center would sag. I mean, I'm sure there's ways, but I could definitely see in the future adding another set of wasteboards. Yeah. But crap, you know, the downfall to that would, you know, we only have 3 inches of travel already. I mean, man, that ain't crap. That's 2 2x4s stacked on top of each other. You know, that ain't crap. At first, when I bought this, I was under the impression it had 8 inches of travel. I thought, that'd be pretty good, you know, including the, you know, you lose a little bit, including the bit in it. But now that I'm seeing all this, you know, and I found out later after I ordered it, I was like, shit, 3 inches of travel. I wonder, you know, what about the bit that you're putting in the damn thing, you know? the thing is, you know, a couple inches. I don't know about all that yet. I haven't got that far. Kind of stressed out about that. But from what I've seen on videos and stuff, other people, it seems like they have enough room to do decent sized stuff. This is kind of twisted. Be very careful, don't cross thread. Well, that'd be bad. There's things called helicoils. I wonder if you could probably dip. Oh, jeez. Always keep your eye on the ball. Helicoils, they like fix threads, I guess. I've never used one, I've just heard of them. They use it in the machining industry and stuff. I don't know. These aren't lining up like I would expect it to, but hell, nothing really has on this thing. So I'm gonna break these, make sure they're really loose. I want to make sure I got plenty of room. I bet my machine is not square. That's probably kicking it out a little bit. It's a little stiff. I like that. There it is. Beam is a little twisted. I bet it's the machine, it's just not square. I doubt that rail's twisted. Could be. Tighten it up and then back it off. I actually had to twist that a little bit to get those screws in. Made it easier. Do this last side over. No, we got one more over there too. So it should be 16 screws all together. My phone is going to die, and I'm debating whether continuing or let it charge and come back. I don't like to stop stuff until I get started on it. Maybe I can bring the charger out here. Oh, and I just noticed too that my feet are not even on the dang table. So I bet you that's got a lot to do. Let me sit it. Let me go ahead and do that with the board. Bet that'll fix a lot of stuff in there. Yikes. Actually made it worse. But the feet, they screw and unscrew. I bet that it's unlevel. What I'm going to do for the time being is something really crazy. No, it's not what you think. I'll just put it on there about so. It's cardboard on it. It's the cardboard on this. Please don't void my warranty. There's cardboard on it so it won't be scratched. You don't want to scratch the shit. Gently, don't tighten it, just put it on there. Then bend it the way you need it. That fixed it. So I'm just going to lay my arm on it a little bit as I tighten. Just to give it that little bit of needed twist. And back off. Laying my arm back on it. There you go. All you haters. Not one damn scratch on there. You can't void my warranty for that. Nothing. Cardboard, bud. Probably gonna need it over there. Might as well get it ready. Oh. Much as that's going to be transversing back and forth, it probably wouldn't hurt to add a little Loctite on them. But I don't know. Nah, I probably wouldn't do it. And I'll tell you why. You know, you're probably going to have to re-square the machine here and there. So it's good to be able to break them loose easily and do that. That one's a little tighter than I wanted it. It's not scary tight. Just a little snug. That one's perfect. I love it when they just go in. So back it off. And now I'll actually kind of put a little snug on them. I'm not tightening down on them, but I am taking them in to where they're not sloppy. I haven't put the beast mode on them yet. So, it's a mess in this room because it's a work in progress. You wouldn't believe it, it was awesome last night when I built this table. Now it's a mess. But I still haven't really figured out where I'm going to put this. Thinking about it in the corner. Alright, so that's done. Let's see what's next. Alright, so after we do that, it's saying to secure the rails. Okay, we done all that. Now it's time to put the belts on. This is probably my least favorite part. Maybe it won't be bad. Belts. You know what? It's actually a good stopping point here. I'm at a measurable point. So I'm going to go get something to eat, charge my phone a little bit, and come back. And I better move. Alright, I'm back from a nap, and I ate a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So, my computer died. Just fired it up. I put a little charge on my phone. I'm trying to remember where we left off. I believe it was the belts. So, that's where we're going to start. I feel a lot better now. I got some sleep. Alright, these look, I believe these are the belt clips. Get this going. I'm assuming they're going to be mounted here. These clips on both ends. I'm assuming what would make sense to me right now. Alright, let me do some reading here. Alright, remove the 3 belts from their bag. Note that the 3 belts are identical of length for all 3 belt installations. The following processes will be followed. That's great news. They're all the same length. Cool. So, they're all going to be identical processes, so I don't think we can go wrong there. So it looks like that is sitting there, and the teeth of the belt are here. Okay, so I believe we are going to take our clip, like so, And on the outermost opening here, with the teeth facing forward, the teeth are on this side, see? The teeth facing forward, we're going to go up and through. Yeah, see? Teeth forward, pull it up a little bit just enough to also slide it back through. Like so. And we're going to do that on every single one. That's great news. Okay, so that was step 1, step 2, and then step 3. On one end of each belt will be inserted into the belt clip with the teeth down. The belt is inserted up from the bottom in the gap nearest the end of the clip, blah, blah. The belt is inserted into the top from the bottom, second gap, okay. Pull the belt so that 2 inches return in the direction of the top portion of the belt. Make certain the teeth of the top and lower section of the belt are interlocked as shown. The free end of the belt, the looped end through the belt clip, will be routed through the carriages. What? The free end of the belt, the end not looped, will be routed through the carriages and then secured using another belt clip using a more detailed steps provided below. What? Through the carriages? I must be talking about, oh, okay, the carriages. Okay. So, I think we're going to do that twice. So we want to do one on one end and do the identical process on the other. So once again, teeth forward, stick it through the top, pull it through, push it through, just like so. They're saying 2 inches of slack or whatever, so I don't know, let's measure. I'm not the one that created this. It's about 1.5 inches. So about that long. That's 2 inches. Inches. I'm going to go ahead and do that for all of them. Same thing. Alright, so we got all 3 of them done the same. Time for the installation. What are we doing here? Okay. Let me get. Let's go over and figure out what the heck's going on. It's dusty in here, so. Alright, so we have. I'm gonna go ahead. Put this one on. Let me get you some more you can see. How in the hell? Through that in my bus really tight. Like flat. Isn't that damn thing gonna run that over? Whatever. Maybe not. Alright, so looks like we mounted that flat, teeth facing down on the upper side, these facing down. And then like a hole. Good. So I'm gonna go ahead and move. How's that feel? So You see what I'm using? Hold the damn phone up. It's actually a lock box that I made a while back. The struggle is real. Alright, so all I'm doing here is I'm going to lay this belt along this top. I know you can't really see, but I'm just laying it along the top of this with the teeth facing down. And I have an instant regret. Okay, so you don't want to put one side on yet. And I'll show you why. Let me take it off first. Because you won't be able to get it under the bearings on the back side. So you want to feed in here. Feed all the way through under those bearings. Getting it? Yep. Keeping it facing down. It's getting wadded up here. Let's see. Yeah, it's screwed up. Okay, hang on. Just okay. See, now it's flat. And now I think this center piece here, between these two bearings, there's a gap. And I believe I have to lift this up because it's going to have to be driven by that motor, so it's going to have to go up here on that pulley. I'm going to figure that out now. Let me see if I can lay this phone somewhere. Yeah, I think you can see that. Let me try getting that up in there. I have to find something real small. Flathead screwdriver or something. I'm going to feed that up inside. Oh, this is difficult. Which could mean I'm doing something wrong. Yeah. So no easier way. Can you see this on the camera? What I'm struggling with? No. The wires are in the way. Let me get them out of the way. You see that now? Yeah. Somewhat. I'm trying to get this belt. So it looks like this Allen wrench is proving handy in this task. So I was able to feed it up through there. So what I've done is, see, fed it up through the center there and pushed it straight up. I pulled it up through with an Allen wrench. So now, twist that belt, try to get it up and around that pulley. Big old stubby fingers. There we go. Not as bad as I thought it'd be. Alright, and now I'm just going to go ahead and pull the slack out of the belt. There. Now it's resting on that pulley. I believe that's right. Yeah, when I pull the slack out of this, it separates the belts. See, touching out when I pull tight. So I think that's the way it is. I'll have to go back in a minute and make things sure. I'm going to go ahead and set the phone right here while I install this. Remember how it goes, teeth forward. First one, second one, 2 inches. Well, I say 2. Well, yeah, that's about right. It gives it the slack it needs, or the tightness. So, dang man, how tight does that need to be? I'm assuming it needs to be tight like you normally would tighten that pulley. Let me read real quick. So it says, ensure that it doesn't twist. Use your fingers on both sides. Use your fingers on both sides of the flange bearings to feed. To feed a portion of the belt up through the flange bearings as shown in the image below. Push evenly at the same time the rate of belt below, but the belt should move up between. Okay, yeah, we did. So we did it right. Carefully reach in behind the lower with a 1.5 millimeter hex wrench as shown. So I was right on track there. So just do exactly what I just did. So that's all correct. Now, feed the free end of the belt into the belt clip until a 1/4 inch or 6 millimeter gap exists between the X or the Y axis, right carriage, and the belt clip, as shown. Cool. I think the pizza guy's here. Pizza's here. I don't know what this is. Some kind of Hawaiian chicken, jalapenos. Hawaiian pineapple jalapeno chicken or something. I wasn't really sold on the pineapple, but for some reason something told me to get it. I'm telling you right now. That's good. Jalapeno on top. Pepperoni for the kids. Alright, I just got back eating a whole bunch of pizza. Oh, stuffed. Alright. So it looks like it wants us on the right hand side, which I've already put it together, to have a 1/4 inch, to be so tight that there's a 1/4 inch gap. So we're basically going to stretch the belt a 1/4 inch. Okay. So let's do a recap here. What we done. I've already put that on. I'm going to have to take it back off. So this won't take us a second. Alright, that's off. Go ahead and put on the other one over here. I'm actually going to crank down on this pretty tight. I believe it's going to be where it's going to be. Okay, so I got that clip on. That's all I did. Okay. Now I'm going to do the same thing over here. It's set. Try to get this camera set up here somehow. I'm going to set this out at a 1/4 inch. They had a ruler, something I don't have right here close by. I'm just going to use tape measure. I think I know how to read one of those. I'm going to move this out of the way. This is the right hand side with that sticker on it. Opposite of the Shapeoko. Shapeoko. I call it Shapeoko. I don't think it really matters who gives a crap. All that we are interested in is making stuff on it. Who cares what it's called? Oh man, I think that's probably already a 1/4 inch. Let's see. Almost. Well, I'd say that's close enough to being where it needs to be. I got lucky, so I'm going to go ahead and tighten it now. Got it started. Go ahead and snug it. Feel that? That's exactly how I did that Z motor earlier on that Z carriage up and down. That's exactly the same tensile that I had on it. Tension, sorry. So that means I was probably on the right track. All right, we now have that installed. The X drive belt along the X carriage. Remember, we installed it up on the pulley. Put this end on first, the end that has the Shapeoko. Put that on first. And then leave a 1/4 inch right here on the other end. and then tighten it down from 1/4 inch. And that will give you perfect snap. Let's see what's next. It says this belt should be tight enough to snap against the X rail when gently lifted, but do not over tighten, as this could bend and damage the X axis motor pulley. If you keep it as same as mine, I think you're good. Oh shit. Yeah, this is what you do not want to do. Look at that. That son of a gun is dented in. Can you imagine that? Let's take a look at ours. We don't have that issue. It's perfect. I think they would have, well, I see they probably put this lower. That's cocked up at an angle. They probably put that lower because that's what holds that down and keeps it from slipping. The teeth are interlocked between each other, teeth to teeth, tooth to tooth, whatever. And then that's pushing downward, a downward force because of this read ahead. I don't have to take nothing apart. Okay, it says insert one end of the belt through the belt clip as described above. Ensure the bottom 2-inch portion of the belt interlocks with the top portion and secure it to the front end plate as shown in the image below. Run the belt teeth down along the left Y extrusion rail as shown in the image below. Use your fingers or the 1.5 to feed. Okay, so we're going to do exactly what we just did on the X. Teeth facing down. We're gonna use the Allen wrench to pull it up over the motor pulley, the pulley on the motor. Make sure that the belt hasn't twisted and that the teeth are facing down. Feed the free end of the belt into a belt clip from the bottom portion of the belt. Pull through enough so that a 1/4 inch gap exists between the right rear end plate. So rear. All right, so let's do this. So we're probably going to start down here. So got this belt. I'm going to go ahead and take one end all. Go ahead and attach this one. Snug the crap out of it. And how those guys bent that other one, man, I don't know how you could tighten that up that much. I think something would strip. I'm just gonna tighten it here. I'm gonna do the same thing down here. Oh, I need a. Alright, so with the teeth facing down on the rail, I'm gonna do exactly what I did on this one. I'm just gonna feed it through. I'll show you in just a second. So I got the belt all the way down, stretched, tight. Okay, so here's what they were talking about. So this is the right side, the side of Shapeoko, whatever. I'm gonna get an Allen wrench. I'm gonna slide that in there and try to get it up under that belt. Try not to scratch anything too much. I'm sure that wouldn't be healthy. And also try not to cut into that belt. I would not place anything too sharp up inside of there. There it is. Up inside of there because you don't want to cut this belt. Okay, so now that we have that, it running through there, I'm just going to lay that, pull that out and up and over that pulley, and then pull. Watch it. Pull tight. Pull tight. Get it? Now, we're gonna do like we did earlier. With a 1/4 inch deal. So we'll grab the clip. Remember the instructions. Teeth facing down. Here's the 2 holes. Goes in the top one. You see that? Goes in the top one. Teeth down. Pull it up through. Push it through the bottom one. And we want a 1/4 inch gap. So pull this long enough to get a 1/4 inch gap. That obviously is probably a 1 inch gap. Won't less than that. Looks like a no inch gap. A little more. We're getting closer there. Let's see what that measures. We have about 1/2 inch there. Go a little closer. Move it a couple teeth. That's too much. Well, it don't take much. Too far. Move it back. Yeah, that's it right there. So with a 1/4 inch gap, see if we can get you a clear shot. 1/4 inch gap between it. Now place the screw on the back. Tighten it down. That will give us tension on the belt that we need. I'm going to actually hold the belt down while I'm doing this, while I'm tightening it, making sure it doesn't slip or something. I'm going to straighten that up too. It looks a little crooked. So while I'm tightening that, I'm going to hold that in place. I'm not turning on it. Okay. I'm going to crank down on that thing. I'm going to do the snap, the spring test here. Just feel pretty good. I would say that's probably looser than what I would think you would want. I mean, the tighter you get it, I'm sure the less backlash you're gonna have, less play. See, I feel like that needs. This is tighter. I'm actually going to adjust this because I said it was a 1/4 inch. I said about a 1/4 inch. It was 5/16 is what I honestly saw. So I'm going to just pull it a little tighter. It's like 1 tooth. I'm going to remeasure. See, it felt like it slipped some more. It's like it's slipping. See, now that's way off. That's slipping. As I'm tightening it down, that belt's actually slipping. That's causing problems right there. I'm not even going to adjust it. I'm just going to pull on it. Yeah, see, it's slipping. That sucks, man. That's hard to adjust doing it like that. And now it's already too short. There's no in between. All I got to say, guys, is good luck on this part. Hope you don't have as much trouble as I am. This sucks. That's perfect right there. That's 1/4 inch, so if it doesn't slip, it's perfect. So I'm going to hang on, but my life depends on it. Cut the shit out of it. Oh, that's better. That's it. That's what it needed. I don't like how it's crooked. Okay. His teeth aren't all the way matching, so it could slip. I'm noticing that there's gaps between the teeth. I don't know if you're able to see that. Because it's not. I don't know if you can see that. It's straight. Maybe that's why. Okay, so this is my tension now. I love it. That's tight. It's perfect. I feel like there's not going to be slack in it. The belt's not going to slip on that at all. It's going to have a lot of tension up against that sprocket there, pulley, whatever you want to call it. Same thing. Take one off. Unless you were smart, didn't listen to him. Kept one off already. Teeth down onto the extruded metal. 2 inches of slack. Go ahead and bolt it onto the frame. Where's my Allen? I wonder why they call it Allen. The guy that invented it, was his name an Allen wrench? Allen? It's the Allen wrench. Maybe the guy's name was Allen who made them. Came up with the idea. It's an ingenious idea. It's pretty cool. Beats a screwdriver. Until they strip out and they suck. I experienced a few of those earlier. Alright, now we are back to this. Just set up. Same process. We are going to feed it through the wheels. You see that? Okay. We'll use a flathead screwdriver. Just like I showed you on the other side, just stick a flathead screwdriver in between it and pick up that belt. Place that belt over that pulley. Doing that, I'm going to go ahead and unwrap this wiring and stuff. Get it out of the way. So all I did there was the same thing I did over there. Just lifted up the belt straight up and over this pulley. And then just pull tight. Okay? Now, same thing here. Make the same amount of tension. Teeth down. Here's the second one. Drop this up. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to push this all the way forward. While doing that, I was holding onto the strap, the belt. Now, with this all the way forward, both ends flush against this plate. Then I'm going to pull tight on this belt. Let me check this for 1 minute. That's good. But while it's like that, now I'm going to do it. Not that it may even have mattered, but I don't know. Same thing, 1/4 inch gap. Got that perfect first try. Okay. Oh. Plus you get more room here to work with, so claustrophobic. It's probably really important to have the same amount of tension on both sides. You got one side that's tighter than the other. I don't know, it just seems like it wouldn't have equal pull or something. Or you could run into that issue, at least. You could run into that issue. There'd be a chance of that. Let's feel that snap. Feel the same. I like that. What's next? Go on there, 30 minutes. So we did the both of them. Okay. We're good. Now it's time for the wiring. Alright. Time for the wiring. Note, as of July 2017, the drag chains come with all wiring pre-installed. Be careful not to pull on the exposed wiring or allow one of the wire end plugs to be pulled or crushed. Okay, let's not do that. One of my least favorite parts. Only because I'm scared of screwing something up. It's time to open up this box. All kinds of stuff. Whole bag of stuff. Let's get dirty. Ooh, this is stapled to that. Alright. That's all that's in the box besides this. This is like the belt. I've always loved these. I wanted to get one on my 3D printer. I got 2 3D printers, and I wanted to get them on there. These are freaking awesome. Oh my God, look at all the freaking wires. It's very intimidating. Okay. There looks to be a lot of wires. Jesus! A lot of wires. Okay. I'm not going to stress myself out about that right now. I'm going to find where I put. Alright, so the first thing we are going to do. So I need some pliers. Some needle nose. God! Not using them. We'll use these. Alright, so we need, what size wrench is that? Can't read it. Pliers. So this step of the assembly process involves attaching the drag chain brackets. Set this camera somewhere else, I can't read it. Wiring harness and connecting all the components to the controller. Install the X-axis drag chain bracket. The X-axis drag chain bracket is the smaller of the 2 stainless steel L-shaped brackets. Remove the protective film from the bracket shown photo below. The underside of the film is black. Top is white silver color. Talking about these. This is interesting. What I'm seeing. Let's take a look at this. So this has some kind of, oh, be careful, there's little parts. Some kind of covering on it. So I bet when they get this is stainless. So when they get these in, they're in like these 48 by 120 sheets, I think, and looks like it's been lasered out. I see burn marks on it, so I'm sure it's lasered. Could be punched. It actually looks sheared on that side. It's burnt from there. So whether lasered or punched, stainless comes with this stuff on it, this plastic, and all it is it keeps it pretty. And so what we'll do is, what they do is they put them in the machines, either to be laser cut or punched out, and press. and it punches it, and then it'll stick it in a bender. You can see where the die was. And I don't know if you can see that line on that sticker. So it sits down in a die, a flat sheet of metal, comes down and hits it, forms it. It's pretty neat. I've been fortunate enough to be around that kind of stuff a few times in my life. It's a neat process. I think some of it, like using the die to do it, is like a brake press. You can stick it in the brake press, and that's just a big old freaking die you put on the top and one on the bottom. Comes down and hits and forms it to whatever die you have in the machine. In this case, it's that one. So I peeled the stuff off, and it wants me to install the X-axis drag change bracket by loosening the 2 rear screws on the top of the X plate as shown in the figure below. Okay. So it looks like he's got a Allen wrench and a pair of needle nose. Let's figure out why. What it's talking about is this one and this one. See it? We are going to install it. So I'm going to get the bracket, and we're going to loosen that up. This was one that's got a bad head on it. Yep. So why don't I use the needle nose? I don't know, that came loose on me easy. Same thing on that other one. Pretty loose. So I broke that loose. Now, so in the picture it shows 2 of them here. Well, first they have them mounted here, pretty simple. That's not right according to the picture. So I'm going to take this off, place it over here on this side. I may be wrong, I don't know. Okay, now that both of them are on that side, those 2 standoffs, I put them both over here. Because they were one here and one over there, I don't know why. I'm going to put them here. What can you see? Okay, so behind the motors, unscrew that pretty good. Pretty good gap. Just like so. You better freaking fit. Perfect. Okay. So all I did was put that bracket on there like that. Just behind the screw heads. Along the front of the Shapeoko, the X-axis. These 2 standoffs are right behind it. Put that bracket just like so. Good view. Alright. Next, drag chain bracket. There's the bracket. That had to have been burned. That plastic is melted. But that was lasered. Highly doubt it was water jetted. That would have took a long time. Yeah, it's burnt. You can see it on the inside now, the dark. If you can see, but it's dark there. There's a little burr. Slag. That's pretty cool. So, problem. Kind of hung up right here. Lost. I don't know what to do here. You know, one thing's for sure, I don't want to lose that little bitty dang nut. So let me reread it one more time. Just out of the way. rails you gotta be loosened. Let me pause this for now. Let me pause this thing. Does it even pause? I guess not. I don't know what that other button was. So, I'll just try to hurry up and figure it out. So, the installing the y-axis drag chain bracket, so that's the y-axis, it's the in and out. Remove the two top screws holding the motor to the left y-axis plate. That's it, the left one. So on the left side, if you're looking at the machine on the left side, the y-axis, remove the top two screws. Okay, let's do it. So, get you set up here. The top two, remove them. Couldn't we have done this before we put the belt on? Okay. I've removed it. Note that the Y plate ships with the shorter screws holding the motor to accommodate all three sizes of Shapeoko machines. The longer M5 16 screws for the XXL are needed to attach the remaining drag chain bracket. The M5 16 screws can be found in the bag labeled drag chain bracket, which I do not have, unless it's somewhere else. And it is not. Skip on over. The two M5 16 screws can be seen protruding through the back of the plate in the image below. Note that the nuts have not been added yet. With the two M5 16 screws in place, take the remaining drag chain bracket and remove its protective film as shown. Okay, I get what they're saying. So basically, what we are going to do is take this bracket and we are going to put it on the front side just like this. That slot right there. So and what they're saying is these won't work for the XXL. I have the XXL, so I need longer screws. That's all the dang hardware I got. That's all I got. So that's all that's left. It's got to be here. So much for the damn label on the bag. If this is it, I apologize if it's not. I'm only sorry if I'm wrong. Let's see. What the hell? That's not even gonna be right. Are you kidding me? They didn't give me the right damn bag. Fuck. They didn't throw it in. For the great. My apologies. I found it. Although it wasn't labeled, so there. Just scoot all this over here so they can roll off the edge of the machine and be lost forever. I think I found them. I may be wrong. Let's see. These look like they might work. All that matters is that these go in there. The ones that I took out, I have some longer ones that will come out of the front, and I'm able to bolt this on. That's all I'm doing. Nothing special. So I'm going to go ahead and put these back in. The new ones, the longer ones. Find my Allen wrench. I must be getting tired and grumpy. Those front of me. I'm ready to wrap this up. Secure it back, good and tight. Much room to work with over here. Scratch the shit out of this X rail. Good and snug. All right, I'll show you what we are doing on this side. All we are doing is mounting this bracket right there. Let's see if we get this foam to stay. Oh, this looks like it's gonna be fun. Jesus Christ. I'm gonna find a socket that'll fit that. I am not even gonna try. I'll work on that today. What size it was. It looks like a 5/16. You use a socket, use a 5/16. It looks like it's gonna work. I do with the freaking. I have to rewind the damn video just to find where I set the. Just had it. Alright guys, where did I lay that? The nut. I'm looking for the nut. Shoot. Oh, it's inside the damn socket. Yeah, I'm starting to get tired. You know what? Make sure it's a short one, because that's not going to work. I'm going to actually add 2 inside of there because of how deep this thing's socket is. Now it's at the surface, so I'll be able to catch the threads. Tricks of the trade. Alright. Same thing with this one. Luckily, we have some extras. Alright, take that out. I'll find the ratchet. I'm gonna put a snug on it. Just snugging that dude down. I am not screwing with a wrench. Perfect. Alright, so overview of that. This was just bolted on to the Shapeoko side, left side. Right there. All I had to do, this is the XXL, take out the top 2 screws, put the longer ones in that were in this unmarked bag that had all this hardware in it. Put them in, blah. And then on here, earlier, this one was here for some reason. It didn't show it in the picture, so I moved it up here so that I could install this bracket here, like so. That's all I've done there. So, next step. Installing the controller. Electrical, that's great. The left Y-axis rail is the rail with the 2 tap toes in the center and facing left. This is the one that I said in the very beginning that had the hose. I said make sure it's on the left. So using the M6 hex key, remove the cover from the controller. Where is the controller? Let's see. Here. I guess this is the control. To remove the controller by unscrewing these 2 screws found on either side of the cover. Inside is the controller board, a bag containing 3, I wish $1,000,000, 3 rubber grommets, optional during assembly, and 2 times M6 by 12mm button head cap screws as shown below. Okay, so we should find some grommets, some circuitry. Oh, word of wisdom. I shouldn't have done that. It's a box. You have stuff inside that box. Put it upside down. Pull it out. That way you don't lose anything. Very nice. I like the pattern on the aluminum. Although there is some tool marks here. There's a step. Listen. I'm able to catch my fingernail on it. Didn't clean up all the way. Which is not a problem because it's going on, I guess, a heat sink. Well, I wouldn't say heat sink. It doesn't have really the cutouts for it. And that's really nice. They did a good job. Good job, guys. So, carefully set that somewhere. There's the rubber grommets and some bolts and stuff. So, orient the controller board so that the USB and power ports are facing the rear of the machine as shown in the photo. Use the 2 M6 by 12 to attach. So what is that? I'm assuming it's the ones in the bag. I'm not a metric guy. Oh, and earlier I was talking about, I think, I was sitting there laying in bed after the nap and I was like, what is this? M6 by 12mm. I was measuring the overall length. I got to thinking about it. I wonder if it's the length of the threads. You know what? I guess I could try it right now. These are supposed to, I think these are the M6 by 12s. Let me just see. That will give me a more clear understanding of what I'm doing here. That's my crackers. Okay, the overall length is 15.21, and this is a 12mm screw. But the length of the threads themselves are 12mm. There you go, guys. You now know metric as much as I do, probably more. So, when they're talking about the millimeter, the size of the millimeter screws, apparently it's the length of the threads. I don't know. I never knew. I never had to know. I never had to look at this stuff. I never had to know. I've never had to know this stuff, but it's the length of the threads. So the M5, M6, whatever, by whatever, that by whatever is the length of the threads themselves. That's it. So this is an M6 by 12mm. There's 12mm of thread. I actually learned something there. It's bothering me. I was laying in bed and I was like, if anybody watches this, they're going to be like, that ignorant son of a gun. I'm hoping that other people have trouble with that. I'm sure there's got to be at least one person that struggled with that. I hope for my sake. Okay. Orient the control board so that the USB and power ports are facing the rear of the machine. So the power and the USB, oh, those are actually bent. Look at that crap. Those prongs are bent over. That sucks. Be careful of that. Don't be trying to cram stuff in there. It causes issues. I got my doorbell going off. Hang on. Alright, I'm back. Alright, so apparently the USB and the other thing need to go to the back. I don't see a USB. Unless they're talking about that. The only thing I would know a USB would be was, like a USB cable. I don't see. Unless I'm missing something, I don't see one on here. So I'm assuming maybe that. Maybe that. No, they don't really show. We're gonna go with that. Let's do it. So here's the thing that I think they're calling a USB port. Probably is a USB port, but I don't know. I've never messed with stuff like this, so I don't have a clue. Where's my dang hardware? I'm just going to install this. I got one partially in. I'm going to go ahead and, this is kind of awkward and I don't want to drop it and damage something on it. Go ahead and put the other one on. That way I'm not fighting with anything. Well, that fits nicely. That's a plus. One thing I've noticed now, this is going to be on the side where my wall is. I'm sure that these electronics are going to get very hot, so that kind of concerns me. I don't want it up against my wall. I don't like that idea very much. Could burn them up prematurely. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put the cover back on. I don't want to accidentally break something unless we are just going to go ahead and wire everything up. I don't know, but it looks like there's other stuff we got to do. I'm going to go ahead and just temporarily put this back on. I think it even says it in there. I read that in there. Let's take a look. Loosely reinstall the cover of the controller. We have more work to do around the machine before connecting the wiring harness and want to be careful not to accidentally damage the controller, so that'll work fine. Wiring harness installation. There we go. The wiring harness is pre-assembled at the factory, thank God, for your convenience, very much so. All of the cables are routed correctly and the drag chains are spaced the correct distance apart. Thank you very much. You only need to attach the wiring harness to the Shapeoko XXL and then connect the various wires to their respective ports on the controller board. Do what now? You only need to attach the wiring harness to the machine and then connect the various wires to respective. Okay. Locate the end of the Y-axis wiring harness with the labeled female connectors as shown in the photo below. Okay. These have genders, apparently. These are the males. I guess they have things that stick out, you know. And then the females are the things that the male dilly bobbers stick into. Shouldn't be hard for us to understand. These are the females. So the females let's take a look here. What a mess. Crap. Let's get you over here where you can enjoy my suffering. Alright, so it looks like this chain only bends one way, and my battery's dying. Looks like this chain only bends one way, so I'm gonna lay that down probably. Oh my God, I don't know. So the big spaces go on the bottom. So there's some that have little spaces on the back side. There's big openings, big spaces. So those are going to go on the bottom. Which sounds like the logical thing to do. Alright, I got some stuff figured out here. So what I figured out is, here's the female connectors, okay? This drag chain bends like so. Set that thing right here. Just set it there, okay? Let these female connectors lay wherever. Now, with that laying there, set it on top of this, your plate, and find those itty bitty nuts and bolts and screw them into that plate, okay? Now, this chain breaks away and comes out over here, okay? And just leave it there, it doesn't matter, okay? So let's make sure we got the Y right. Get a good view of that. I found no help anywhere. I just had to sit down and figure this shit out. This is what I came up with. So now when the machine moves forward or back, this will roll up in a ball, a snake, whatever. Okay, now that we've got that done, come over here with the Y, or the X, I'm sorry. Same thing. We're just gonna lay, trying to hold this phone and pop it up. So all I've done here was lay this chain up under that motor, this lower motor, and then just wrap that around and laid it. How much is that? Can you see? So just laid it up on that rail, wrapped it up like that, and laid it up on that bracket that I mounted up there earlier. This bracket, and then I just mounted it with those 2 screws down in that bracket, that stainless steel bracket I was talking about earlier, and I put that sticker on. Yeah, it just mounts 2 bolts, 2 nuts. That's the end of that. Okay, it's the easiest way I could figure it out. And I went back and read the stuff, and it all made sense. So that was my doing. So now it's time to wire. I'm going to reverse this camera so it's easier to see. All right, the camera's reversed. All right, so now I'm going to start plugging crap in. This is the fun part. Let's see. Get a good view. Okay, this is the left side Y rail. Find something to drop. So, okay. So I'm going to try to find the lead. All those wires on my way. Careful not to bend anything or break anything. Get all this crap out of your way. Coming over like a nice hairdo. Now find the wire that's coming off the motor. It's right here. It's got the colors on it. Looks like blue, brown, green, and red. And that is going to plug in to, oh goodness, let's see. What we got here? We got Y. What is that? Oh, that's a limit switch, I believe. So I'm not going to use that yet. So we have a Y2. And what is this other thing? I don't know, but you gotta be careful because it looks like all this shit can plug into itself. Oh my god. So, I don't know. Now what? We're gonna just call this Y2. So the left side is gonna be Y2. There's a plug in here. I think. Hang on. Why? Why do they have to make this stuff go? Why is it so long? Doesn't need to be that long, does it? What about this one? I can't reuse this. Shit plugs right in. Oh boy. So here's a Y1 on this belt over here. Bear with me for a few minutes. We got a Z and an X limit. We have a Y1, Z, and X, and you know, I seen a Rogue sticker somewhere earlier. See, that fell on the ground. This one doesn't have a sticker on it. This one does. It says Y2. Which I don't think it all matters as long as you plug it into the right shit. X to X and Y to Y. The Y1 and 2, I think all that means is You know what? Why? How in the world? This is Y2, so Y2 could be over here. How would it reach? That should have been plugged into the dang thing then. Unless I'm going to use this. Okay, this ain't making sense. Let me read some stuff. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do now is go through here, plug them all in. Here's the Z, the Y1, the Y2, and the X. And then very carefully, up here, this is, the first one is the X limit, the second is the Y limit, and the third is the Z limit. And then over here is the reserve. That's where I'm going to touch. Mine is to be plugged in here. There's other ones that goes in the second to last one there. It says probe. And then you also plug another thing over here. But on mine, it's here. And you plug it straight into the reserved. And it's actually this one. But I'm going to go ahead and do that now. You don't have to see it. And then I'll be right back. Alright, so you can see I got it all wired up. And I got everything in their respective places. So, just like I said earlier, the Z, the Y1, the Y2, and the X on the big female connectors, and then the X, Y, and Z on these little small ones right there. And then I have my reserve there for my touch probe. There's it all coming through there through a rubber grommet. Had to actually pull some slack in this belt. It wasn't enough. Had to pull some out. They said that they'd already done that, but I just didn't have enough. So I had to. If you run into that problem, if it's too tight when you're trying to put this cover back on, pull some slack out of there. Pull some slack. You know, just try to make it work. I'm gonna go ahead and mount this back on. About tearing a bunch of shit up. Hopefully nothing got unplugged in there. Alright, so on the package, this was stapled to the limit switch installation guide. Coming in a bag like this. Had some plates, stuff like this in there, little brackets. Looks like that's what we're going to be using now. It's starting to get confusing to me. And oh, and on the last segment, this touch probe I installed, this ground will go just anywhere on the machine. I'm probably going to stick it. Some people are putting them here. It's just a ground, it doesn't matter, just somewhere. So I'll do that last. Right now I'm going to install the Z-axis. Looks like we're going to be using this plate. There's the Z. Looks like. This is pretty important. You get this right, because this is what's going to stop your machine from getting the hell tore out of it. Limit switches are very, very important. On the right Allen wrench. So we want this secured nice and tight, but not too tight because it's freaking plastic, so you just snap. Just make sure that it's tight enough it doesn't move. You don't want to crack it. It's plastic. That's how to look in that bracket. Put on the bottom one there. There's a place in there to keep it from moving. see it? Okay. So this will be installed with 2 standoffs. On the back side. I hate these freaking pictures. Pictures just don't do the damn thing justice. Gotta figure out how this thing works. Figured out my damn self. Almost like that's backwards. It should be like this. That makes more sense. So then it can come in contact with the limit switch. Yeah. So, I'm going to put 2 spacers here on the back. Using these little screws, double threaded spacers. And it almost seems like I'm doing it backwards to how they have it, but this limit switch has to touch something, and so when this plate goes up and down, it's got to know when to stop coming up. But you got to make contact with this and trigger it. So my thoughts be to put it on the inside toward the belt, so that way when this plate comes up, it makes contact with that and kills the motors. That makes sense to me. I'm not really getting that off the instructions. I'm not really getting shit off of it. I could have done a better job with the pictures and reading. I'm not much of a reader though. At this point, you can tighten both sides up. Now we have a limit switch here, so when this comes up, this plate will bump it and kill it, keep it from crashing. Boom. That's the way I see it working. I think that's right. I'm about 100% positive. I'm gonna get any more positive. That's gotta be it. So I put my cable inside, and they're saying not to do that, and I see for good reasons, because you're going to end up rubbing somewhere and causing issues. So I'm going to go ahead and take off. Take this back off and get that right. all it's saying is just run that cable around the motor, which I don't really have enough wire. Let's see. A little mercy for me. I don't have enough wire, I don't think. Barely. I don't really like that touching the back of that motor because that motor gets hot. But it's away from moving parts, so it'll be a little safer. Go ahead and fasten everything back. Okay, and I got my wire running around the back there. Keep it safe. How's this? This is the X. So, should be some cables here. Motors. Some X in it. Y1 and Z. That's dumb. Look at this. There's Y1 and Z on one connector. Hell, which one is it? Don't make no damn sense. So, Y1. There's another X. This has got to be Z. They shouldn't have put that tag on here. This is screwed up. That just don't seem right. So this is X. So X goes from left to right. So we find the motor that drives from left and right, which is. Let's see. What drives that one? It's the lower one. So the lower wiring harness plugs into the X, or the lower motor plugs into the one that says X, and then the upper motor plugs into the one that says Z. You can tell that by just move it up and down. You'll see that this is the one that controls the Z motion. So you just plug it into the one that tags it. I hope to God they didn't screw up on my. We'll know when I plug it in and start moving it around. I'm gonna take it easy. Make sure they didn't get me. So this is Y2. This should be Y1. So I bet this, sorry, should have been on this one. There you go, quality control. You had one job. I just done it. Y'all hiring? Okay, so I got that done. I need to figure out where my X limit switch goes. It's obviously going to go on the side somewhere of this plate. Just got to figure out where. Yeah, according to the diagram, this is the Y1. Well, they had it labeled wrong. Be careful. Alright, so I have this X-axis bracket, man. It took me a little while to figure it out. But look at how I have it oriented. See that? Just like so. So I got the limit switch here. And you shut that door. So that's how it's going to be mounted, just like that. Long story short. Get it close up. Okay. Just like so. Okay, now if you don't mind going around the side here. Back here on the right hand side by the belt, there's two holes. So right here and right here, there's two holes, see? That's where that bracket's gonna be mounted to, and we're gonna be using, I think, these bolts, and these standoffs, should be two of them. So what we'll do is go ahead with the limit switch facing to the right, put a bolt through a standoff. No, the bolt through the part, then through the standoff. 2 times. This is going to be fun. And then while holding all that in, mount it. I would make sure that those are secured firmly. You ain't got to go retard on them. You need to make sure that they're solid. Those limit switches fail to work, the machine is just going to keep going in that direction, and it's going to be bad. So we're going to go ahead and test it out. Slide it over, see if it makes contact on the plate. It should. Looks like I'm running out of wire. Start to pull on it. Be mindful of that. Just don't give you enough damn wire. Look at that bullshit. I'm really not going to mount that over there. Unless it's going to be off the side. Let's see. So robo thing here. That's not going to work. Something's not right. Needs to travel enough to limit out. There it is. See something else first. See what's left. Okay, this clip right here is hitting the side of this machine, and it's not activating the limit switch properly. That can cause issues. That clip, be mindful of that. Test that, make sure that there's clearance for that to go all the way. Damn clip was in the way, but it chipped a little paint off the corner there, and then it was able to go on through. That fixed it. So we know the X is good. I do not like this robo belt. Shit. That's why right there. I thought these things were pretty cool until I'm having to deal with the dang thing. Once we get it all settled in. Oh, that's what it was. There. That's a lot better. There's a tab here too. And it's like a hard stop. It's odd. Well, I hope that limit switch triggers early. I don't like that. I don't know. Maybe I'm being too careful. Seems like it's not triggering. It's hitting the hard stop before it triggers. I don't know. We'll look into it later. May end up putting a little sticky thing right here, a little cushion. That way it triggers the X stop sooner, if that becomes a problem. Alright, here's the Y-axis limit switch, how it should be attached. So find the one that says Y limit, and attach it just like that. Pause this if you need to. Find a good spot for it. So it sits on top of the plate here. So the limit switch is on my side. So that cutout in there. And that's going to attach on standoffs right here also. They say put it on the right side. Why on the right side? I don't know. What's wrong with the left side? There's actually a place over there for it. I don't know. Maybe because that belt was over there or something. I don't know what the reasoning was behind that one. The argument or... We need to attach it in such a way that this hits the end of the rail down there. I'll show you in just a minute. So just put it through the plate first. Uh-oh. A little tight. Get their cutout all the way through. Jeez. It's really tight. Okay. So we'll put one here on the upper portion. This is big Allen. Set it there. I'm fixing to mess up. Those threads are freaking ridiculously tight on that bottom one. Even this top one, something just don't seem right there. Really weird. It's not cross-threaded, it's just painted. All of that was hard to get on. I'm going to just use a drill and zip it on there real quick. If anything happens later, I can just drill it through and put bolts on it. I'm ready to wrap this thing up. Very easily, just zip it up on there real quick. I'm not concerned about cross-threading or anything. I don't care whatsoever on that. I will drill that son of a gun out if I have to and put bolts on it. All that's used for. So here's the limit. Okay. As long as that gets triggered, that's all that freaking matters. Let me show you how it works. Should hit that rail right there. It's gonna come down. like that. Okay. This is backwards. Put it on the outside of the machine. Alright, so on the Y-axis limit switch, I just run the wire up, over, into right here. This is what it's going to look like. Just like that. 2 1-inch standoffs, bolted through. What that's going to be used for is once this comes forward to the back of the machine, the rear side, and come in, you get a clear view here, and the contact right there, boom, limit switch is activated. That's what your Y-axis limit switch is going to look like. It's like so. Alright, quick recap before I go any further. What I've done is all I've done was just secured everything. I wrapped everything up, nothing that anybody else couldn't do very easily without instructions. I just zip tied everything, made everything look nice and neat. That's all I've done. So you can see, I just put my router in. My Z is still wobbling. You can hear it. I was just fixing to adjust my eccentric nut right here to get that pulley or whatever engaged into that groove, so it wouldn't wobble. But this is all I've done. I've just got everything clean and out of the way. I may tie this somewhere, maybe to that. Yeah, that's what I'll do. I should have ran it around the front. That way it's free from that pulley. But I can pull some slack here. Hell, I can go here and just zip tie it there, out of the way. But all I've done was put some equal spacing. Let me get over here out of the way. Just put everything down, wipe this down, put the glue on it. I mean the little sticker there. Sorry, I'm really tired. So it's just laying nicely. I've just put these up here and zip tied that, so it's just nice and neat. Just tidying up. That's where I'm at. And everything looks secure. I put my router in and zip tied it about every 6 inches, maybe 8 down. And I just got everything clean. Just clean it up. I'm gonna clean that up too. Right now I'm gonna adjust my eccentric nut a little bit. I hope the phone when I do it. I don't know which way to turn it. Clockwise. Put the phone down. But you saw what I was doing. Just turning it clockwise. I am tired. This is going to cause an issue in going down. See, pull some slack on the router. I didn't put them on too awfully tight. A little bit more. Turn this a little bit, because I don't want this cable hitting. Turn this a little bit. I want this cable hitting the end stop. Snug it up, you ain't gotta go crazy with that. Perfect. So we're about wrapped up here. bad for a marker strapped to a duct tape to a router. Oh, that's funny.